to do this election, which is all we're going to do tonight's election. First, we're going to have to elect a chair. And so we're going to take nominations. If you want to get nominated and seconded, the little dinners will be lined up on the board. Those who write their name on the board. When nominations close, we have a chance to make a quick statement. And then we can vote. Somewhere here you have a thing that says chair. And just write the name of the person you want to vote for on that. And Michael and Green will select them. And they will count them. They're city employees that they're supposed to be objective.
They don't live in the neighborhood.
We're here to know. We suspect they can count.
I just have a question on the process. So, can you kind of go through what's going to happen for each
Yes, there is a sign-in sheet. Who knows where it is?
It's back
there. So in the event that you only have one person nominated for an office, we have this at work. In our opinion, you can vote for them, or you can vote against them. They have to get more for votes than against votes to be stuff and to be elected. So we have to deal with that. So even when there's only one person, it's like, so we still have to do the process. So we're going to do chair first, because it's always possible somebody wants to be chair, but they don't do it. So they want to be vice chair. So then they can run for vice chair, we'll do that second. And then we'll do treasurer, we'll do secretary. And after that, we have up to 11 general board sheets. And so we'll do those after we do the forum. Any questions? The nomination will be the second. Yeah.
Let me explain. I'm so sorry. I called Head Start twice to confirm, reconfirm. I didn't know where you took the chair. I'm sorry about that.
That's what we said.
Yeah, here's if you want to drag it out. I think it's going to get a little time to run. Yes. Yes. The other thing is that even if you can't vote, you can be elected. In fact, my reading of the bylaws is you can nominate yourself if you want to, and someone still has a second. So that's happening. We got someone else here to do that.
I'm not running, don't be sure.
All right, so are there any more questions? So, yeah, let's begin. Does anyone want to nominate anyone to be chair?
Nominate Sam Hahn. Sam Hahn.
Second.
Yeah.
You got a lot of them. Does anyone want to nominate anyone else? This is that unfortunate situation where we actually are supposed to do this.
Explain, forgive my ignorance, can you explain the duties of the chair?
Yeah, sorry about that. The chair is well, obviously responsible for chairing the meetings. He's responsible for calling the meetings. Although we've generally just done that by consensus with the board. The board is, it used to be that the WCC general membership meetings were the second Wednesday of every month right here, and that hasn't changed in forever. The last board can change it to move the board meetings from every third Wednesday to every other month. So the chair can change that. The chair can call the meeting. The chair also goes to the leadership council.
Who actually set it down?
I am Chuck Simeon. I'm Brad Foster. I'm the outgoing chair. I hosted the outgoing 2 weeks ago. It didn't quite work out. I'm here. Dennis Ramsey is the treasurer. Duncan Rhodes is the secretary. And Jerry Davis is a board member at large. Duncan's also leading the board. That's leading the neighborhood.
I'm with grandchildren, come on.
And Sabra here, the board member who's also leading the board. Whether you vote for her or not, I think she's. The chair is also sort of the interface with city staff for the WCC. And if they want, they can get a piece of mailbox, so they always just make up. I know, someone else to do that.
Is Sam on here?
Supposed to do,
The chair has ultimate authority and is in charge of keeping things together between me and the vice chair. They have to keep the organization together and make decisions, and sometimes not pleasant ones, and sometimes very happy ones. So it's, it has its duties and responsibilities.
So it's also the spokesperson.
Can we take the shortcut?
The chair is just one more vote on board, so we work as a budget. Okay. Well, Sam, you want to make you want to make a statement of what you're going to do as chair, assuming you can beat none of your already voted in.
Well, hi, I'm Sam. For those of you who don't know, I'm one of the owners over at the Blair Alley Arcade. I have actually been looking for an avenue to deal with my particular issue with parking, and I've been working at it for a couple of years now. Learned a whole bunch about just the Whiteaker and how all that stuff works, how the city council works, and developed some good relationships in the meantime. And then I started hanging out with David a couple of weeks ago when this noise ordinance thing came up. It all just worked out. It seemed like a good time to get something like this a try. I'm excited about it. There seems to me to be all kinds of momentum in this neighborhood right now that, like, if we can channel it correctly, we can accomplish all kinds of things that we all want. And that's the thing that I've figured out in the last couple of weeks is that I haven't really heard issues that people have that are too conflicting. Like, for the most part, we're on the same page on a whole bunch of stuff. It's just about kind of coming together and fixing it. If I do get elected, I plan to make a lot of efforts towards fundraising so that we can solve our own problems. I think that bringing the city into play is, I would hope, a last resort in most cases. At the same time, Claire, our city councilor here, I think she's probably pretty stoked at helping us out. In the meantime, yeah, I think that the Whiteaker Community Council, with this much momentum, can do some pretty amazing things, and I think I can help keep it cool and keep the meetings happy and fun and not too intense. And yeah.
Okay, who dares run against it?
I would say on that note that if you don't want me here, I know about this no vote thing, which seems kind of silly, but at the same time, if you're not into it, then it's important for me to know. And if you have issues and you end up not voting for it or whatever, my door is always open around at the arcade. Usually at 8 in the morning, I don't leave until 4 or 5, 6, 7, something like that. Yeah, my goal is to make it all happy.
Say Sam.
Well, she was going to ask me that. My position on the noise ordinance is that I think that the first efforts that should be made with the new council should be as individual as possible. The noise complaints are different all around. I've heard some people that have issues with the industrial noise, and at the same time really appreciate that they live in a neighborhood that has loud music and this and that, and then the opposite, folks that have issues with the music, but not necessarily some of the industrial noise. And I think that in my experience, almost all of it can be solved with a conversation. A lot of the people that I know have complaints have never talked to the people who were causing the problem. And some of the venues, are going to have to talk out and talk to their neighbors and try and figure out some way to appease them. At the very least, get a lot more communication going around about events are going to be taking place so that people can prepare appropriately. And I do think that there should be a standard as far as how loud stuff should get, but the more I look into legislation and stuff like that, even if we were to take the decibel level, there's so many loopholes and stuff like that, that would really just, it wouldn't be effective. And it would be, and not to mention that it would be a years-long process to actually get something through the city and the meeting to work. So yeah, sorry for the long answer. The short answer is I think that one by one, I'm interested in personally mediating issues between whether it's homeowners and venues or homeowners and the hospital or citizens and whatever it is. One by one, I think we should go around and try and see if we can solve the problem without, you know, moving on.
Sam, is chair the role that you wanted to play for us?
I think so. I thought about some of the other officer positions. The reason I thought chair would be good is that I spent a totally unfortunate amount of hours of my life in the Atrium building. Yeah, I mean, I know how it works and it's complicated, and you know, little tricks I've figured out along the way as to how to make it less complicated, I think would be pretty useful. Yeah, and also just some encouragement from David. Seems like a good spot for me. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? You're hired.
Okay, so procedurally, what we're supposed to do, is everyone good if we just do like a show of hands for this one? Since does anyone object to that? That's good enough, then we'll just do the work. So you're missing it, you're okay. There's some hands up here, there isn't So you're gonna fill out, you're gonna write either Sam on in there, you just write Sam if you want, or write something like none or no, so you're just opposed to this individual. And without any objections, we're going through the nomination.
I can just add one thing.
Around to the right.
Before voting gets going, the fact that I'm chair and that I have the position that I do on sound doesn't mean anything more than one vote. If the council comes up with if the council decides via vote that the noise ordinance is something we want to pursue, then I will do it and I'll advocate for it on behalf of it. And I think that it's important that there's a lot of people here that know a certain crew of folks here. There's also people that are going to be running tonight, like Brad and Dennis here, who have been on the board and do probably oppose mild rock shows and stuff like that. It is important that they're on the board too. It's important that they get heard. It's important that we solve these problems together. It just ends up just a big conglomerate of people that throw a rock show. It's going to be just as ineffective as the exact opposite. And so it's important that, you know, keep an open mind to some of the folks that are have a coping to where we're at.
Can I please see that pen too?
Anyone still need to hand theirs in?
I've only been in this neighborhood for 2 weeks now, and I'm already in the middle of local politics.
Yeah, I think a lot of county, we can take nominations for next year. We just won't close the page. Does anyone want to nominate someone for vice chair? Vice chair is basically they have to do is basically stand in for the chair when the chair is not
Probably post a link on whatever. Probably post a link on Whiteaker Community Council pages.
One additional thing, if
Last name, Jason?
Vanderhaar. If somebody wants to initiate an email vote or something, not during a meeting, the chair and the vice chair are the only ones to initiate that.
For more things, that's the way we've been interpreting the chair calls the meetings. is that they're the only ones who can initiate email votes. That could be interpreted otherwise. Right. Anyone else? Any other nominees for vice chair? Yeah.
So you guys want to say?
Why don't we wait and make sure we have our chair and then we'll do the rest of it. Like I said, we'll put you in hold up with nominations until we have. Except that when it's a landslide, it's not really
I don't blame you.
Okay, Sam's elected. So we got
All right. Last call for nomination for vice chair. Anyone want to nominate some for vice chair? All right. I guess I we just give statements. We'll go in order. First one. Hi, I'm Brad. I was the chair. Vice chair. You know, on the noise ordinance, actually, noise ordinance as it is, throw it away, come up with a new one. I would advocate any way I felt the community felt. And that's why, well, this last year, we actually, all those postcards, we actually put, discussing the noise ordinance, I don't know, 3 or 4 times over the course of the last year. And you would get from 0 to 8 people to show up. And that's why we have done nothing with it. It's like, we gotta have, I think the rest of the board thought we have to have community buy-in before we advocate for something. And I really feel strongly for that. Even when I disagree with what the community wants to do, I will advocate for it because that's what we're supposed to do. So, Jevon, are you here? Jevon.
So,
come on up.
we're I'm the office county afterwards. So I'm going to do a stand-up skit. So if you elect me, basically I got a stand-up skit for that. If you don't elect me, I got a stand-up skit for that. Either way, you're all going to be drinking my thing. But the whole reason why I wanted to basically get involved in this thing is that I've come to realize that the local neighborhood community council actually does wield a lot of influence and policy in how the city actually does it. And I know some issues and problems that personally I don't really give a shit about personally because I'm loud. I mean, I like being loud. And I listen to a lot of people loud too. However, there are things that we can but I think the real issues in the neighborhood right now are basically telling the cops where to go. Obviously, there are places in the neighborhood, and we all know where they are. You guys know where they are. So basically, when policy is made about like where there are hotspots, problems, and things like that, these are the cats basically say, hey, this is where it goes. When the planning department basically wants to do things in the neighborhood, basically, these are the guys basically are like, yeah, we think this is a good idea. We should give these people tax breaks. Come on in, whatever, get on that one. There are problems with parking and actually that's just problems with crime that actually need to be addressed. And that's the reason why. Any questions?
Yeah, where do you work for? You love me.
Oh, I'm Italian now.
You are Italian.
Actually, I'm basically, we go out and there's a lot of issues.
Now, and how are you going to clean up the sidewalk?
That's a really good question. I'll defer that.
Don't push it back to this side.
No, the reality of it is there are some serious issues, and basically, we just need to sit around and all talk about it. And, can't sit around and play game for that, obviously, we are. So,
We basically got the tweakers out of time. Really good. Have a Marsha
I don't like the term speed or tweakers.
All right, so I'm Jason Vanderhaar, and I mean, I wasn't coming here intending to run or anything, but it was suggested to me, and I've been wanting to get involved on this level for quite some time, actually. I've lived here for 20 years, and I enjoy the community that is here, that has grown up here, that has been here, but I also like the fact that we're doing better than we ever were before. At least when I was, 10, 11, and 12, and so forth in this neighborhood, it's grown by leaps and bounds, and I would just like to see that continue. I do not have any actual ties to any businesses in this neighborhood, really. I do help with the block party, but that's about it as far as entrenched possible biases. I'm mostly interested in helping create a dialogue, though, between people who have been here for a long time, people who have been here for a short time, who just live, and on either side who live here, and then businesses. And I do also have a lot of experience with administrative tasks and so forth, so I'm very hopeful with organizing. So, and are there any questions related to where to go from here? No. No, it's a different house. Yeah, how are you doing? I haven't seen you for ages.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Actually, for all three vice chair candidates, if you were not nominated for vice chair, would you consider just serving on the board as a...
I would, for one. I want to help out as much as possible in any way. And personally, for me, the way in which my career in school trajectories have gone, generally service in general has been kind of one of the focuses of all of that. I think that's, regardless of what happens tonight here, that's generally what I want to do. I want to help serve my clients.
Right. Yeah, what do you think about the noise ordinance?
As far as the noise ordinance goes, I'm not too familiar with the particulars of everything that's been said about this particular one. I just know the generalities so far, but where I stand is that we definitely need to find a balance here, because this neighborhood traditionally used to have a big problem with people in the neighborhood having jobs. And now we have jobs because we have so many more venues, but that's a problem for us to live here. And we need to find a real balance between that. And the only way to really do that is to actually start a dialogue and address them. I think Sam really has it dead on with addressing it individually before we ever approach law.
Right. Legislation leads into it.
Legislation, I think, should be when there's no other recourse. Anything else? Well, first off, I think that saying that this neighborhood is being gentrified is a misnomer. To be economically much better people, and that's just not happening. What's happening is
last year.
What? it's still within the same economic
Have the
practice.
same question.
And I think that that we would have to be seeing like actual very well-off people use calling it gentrification. Although I am concerned with what Lefty is talking about, which is rent prices increasing. And I think that we need to find some sort of way to put community pressure on renting groups and individual landowners to kind of keep some sort of rent control type idea going, because many of us have lived here for a very long time. And we should not see ridiculous rent increases twice in 1 year. Is not acceptable. Once here, it really depends. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I think that that's a concern, especially with parking, for instance. That's, I think the biggest concern.
Yeah, let's hear from the other people on that.
Jevon, I've heard some questions. Would you run for that large seat? What do you think about that?
Sure. I would run for that large seat also. But as far as there's been a lot of people that basically say things like, no, it ain't happening. But it is happening. And so it's not an issue that's going to go away. Rents are rising. I'd like to actually see some actual statistics on just how much people report to actually do a course of action. How much rents are
I'll take those two. Yeah, I would run for an large seat. And I think gentrification is probably something that is on our horizon. I don't know that it's actually happening now. I agree the first step is going to be rent increases on people. But it's not the point. I see it as one of those things, eventually it just falls off the cliff and you can't stop it. And so if something's going to happen, I think it's have to happen sooner. But you're also right, if we need more information, where we're at.
Who's going to find that information? Who's going to find that information?
The last time we needed information, I definitely wanted it.
I don't know how to find those stats.
Last year, folks may have noticed that we got some paving job done on 5th and Blair. We had nothing to do with the fact it was going to be paved, but we did get the parking removed on the south side of 5th because the residents who lived there agreed with me that it should be removed. And so I actually went and knocked on every door on 5th between Blair and Jefferson. I got about 35% of people to answer, and 92% of them said, yeah, remove that parking and fix the bike lane so that all there was no bike lanes. We can do a similar thing with what's happening with the rents. It's going to be a lot of money because that was a lot of time to work on. So it can be done, but it's a matter of do we want to do it. I agree.
I agree that social media is good, although I think that can give a false sample. That really the best way to do it is talking to people.
All right. So, are there any more specific questions that just absolutely would change your vote for the voter? No. Okay. Then write one of the names on there. Since Jason and Jevon's names look very similar, if your penmanship is similar to mine, please include that. Did everyone get their vote in?
Okay, so we have a vice chair. 10 votes, you want to hold both of them? So 10 votes for Jason in our 21 votes for Brad Foster, and new vice chair is Jevon Peck.
More hanging out in the bar, man.
Okay, did anyone, or does anyone else want to be treasurer, want to nominate someone for treasurer?
Inform us.
Yeah, let's hear talk.
Ah, okay. I should kind of tell you what the treasurer does. The treasurer is the keeper of the checkbook. But the treasurer can't sign the checks. Okay, so if a check's going to go out, the chair or the vice chair has to sign the checks. Anything over $200, he needs, I think, some sort of board to do it. But the treasurer keeps the checkbook, keeps track of the finances. In Dennis's case, he was also our liaison to the
So there's a Lane County Alcohol Abuse Prevention Task Force that all the breweries have jumped in on, and Lane County rep from the OCC and I'm rep for that.
And so there's some financial things in doing that Dennis takes care of, which is convenient that he was both the liaison and the treasurer, because that would have to be done. So the
The treasurer has to file 3 separate federal or state forms during the year at specific times to satisfy. We're actually a non-profit corporation, and there's some specific technical things that will take care of exactly the right forms. So the treasurer's responsible for that. The treasurer's responsible for auditing the records, keeping the records, altering records, things like that, keeping everything very neat and tucked so that there's no confusion and there's no conflicts.
If I may, I think that it would be my hope that a lot of the energy that's spent on the council and the neighborhood in general, and all the folks here, not just the people that are potentially elected, is going to be about fundraising. And I think we have the potential to actually raise quite a bit of money to solve a lot of our issues. And actually use our nonprofit status. That's really unique. Not all of the neighborhood associations. In fact, none of the other neighborhood associations have nonprofit status, and allows us some really cool things. And it's very important that somebody who knows what all that stuff is about is there. Here is cool. Yeah, you can get that. Yeah, exactly. We can screw ourselves very easily.
Okay. Any questions for Dennis?
Well, we pulled in about $1,500 this year. One came from a donation from someone else in the community, and then $500 from, you see, we act as the fiscal sponsor for a neighborhood matching grant that the task force, which is going to receive city of Eugene, $10,000 to put together a positive fiscal limits, and also respecting the fact that you're in a neighborhood and replacing. And that $10,000 has to have a fiscal sponsor. It is a nonprofit corporation. So I volunteered with the OCC as a conduit, so we get to retain 4%, which is $500.
Are there any other groups that are currently participating in the fiscal sponsorship?
There are none at this time. The program is problematic. It is actually open in what's starting now. Organizations that meet the requirements can actually use the WCC's 501c3 to receive money that's tax exempt, tax deductible, I should say, from anyone that comes to the WCC and receiving with some conditions. All they have to do is
Okay, so does anyone in this case object to just doing this one by a show of hands? If you object, let me see at all. No objection? So why don't we just do, for treasurer, let's do our positive votes for Dennis. Hey. And I don't think we need to look for any negatives because the positives are over. Okay, so.
Sorry, Hilton. I mean.
A special position to tell me about that. Okay. All right. Our final officer position, the secretary.
I nominate David Nickles.
I second.
I want to miss the window.
Anyone else?
Anyone want to nominate anyone else? All right. We don't need to. Why don't we? Does anyone object to doing this one also by hand? If you object, let me know.
I want to give a long boring speech. I'm going to be people not to vote for me. I'm shocked all this is going to be. That's actually a lot more than I thought I signed on for, but I'll do it.
You've already done a really good job of keeping track of everything.
I haven't really kept track of anything. I just post rants on Facebook.
I just want to warn you that this is the workhorse position of this board. I mean, Duncan has done a hell of a job doing everything he does, the postcards that everybody says.
Yeah, we good. Everything.
He's done a great job on it.
Why don't you tell David what he just signed up for?
Yeah.
You've got to collect the attendance thing with you. We do have to report to the city on how many, not the names, but how many people have attended the meetings, and we have to have 3 or more meetings a year where more than 10 people decide to just we have to prepare that postcard, which is going to be sent to Cindy Clark 23 days ahead of publication. I've been doing the Microsoft Publisher. She'll take it word for word herself. Got to keep got to post it. It'd be nice if they're on the website. It would sure be nice to elect somebody as a website manager. Those are just little people. I have this little bag here is all the stuff I've collected as secretary, and I'll give it to you. I will have to email you some of my information that you know, you've got to hand out and have signed by the people who are elected to the board the conflict of interest forms. And I scanned something in my computer. Keep records of what goes on in the meetings. My rule, after some people were like, I took it over because my predecessor gave verbal rehash of what we said at the meeting before. So I put it in writing, and my rule was 1 page or less.
Hey, no, it's not a question. I got a couple friends that actually have companies and supercomputers that are like based on all kinds of websites. I forget the name right now, but so if you do that, I can talk to them, and I'm sure they'll look for help.
All right, so one more time. Does anyone object to just doing this one by a show of hands? Does anyone object? No. Okay. Everyone who will vote for David Nickles, put your hand up. Universal elect. All right. So we can elect up to 11 at-large board members. And so at-large board members, what we really want here are people who will show up to the meetings. Because the critical thing, it doesn't look like it tonight, the critical thing for board meetings can end up being having a quorum. And so you have to have more than half of the board there to have a quorum. And so if we get a board of 15, and 8 of them just never show up, you can never do anything. You become like counters. So if you're not going to be able to make the board meetings, and like I said, the last board was doing them every other month on odd months, because that just seemed like the right kind of month for us. But if you're not going to be able to make the board meetings, it's probably better if you don't serve on the board. Though that doesn't mean you can't come. And participate and all that. So let's just open it up to nomination.
So our question before we start nominating, how are we going to nominate everybody at once and then vote for top 11 after we speak?
Yeah. So assuming we have more than 11 people nominated, we'll give everyone a chance to do do their thing, talk about themselves, and then you've got 11 little sheets, just vote for 11 people, yes.
Our clerks who, how the vice chair should go.
It's fine.
And so are the other two automatically nominated?
No, they would have to be nominated for an at-large position. Even military would have to be. All right, so, yeah.
I nominate Mr. Sheppard.
Mr. Sheppard. Any second?
Second.
Second.
I'm Emily Nyman.
Second. I nominate myself, Jason Vanderhaar.
Second.
I nominate Scott Boyes.
Second.
Scott Boyes.
Voice?
Boyes.
Nominate Sarah Beaulieu.
Second.
Nominate Doug first.
Hang on.
Sarah. Sarah, how do you spell your last name?
L-I-E-U. That's good enough.
I nominate Brad Foster.
Second. Doug first.
Second.
I
Nominate Chris Gadsby.
Second.
I nominate myself.
Second.
I nominate Rio Towner.
Yeah.
Let's slow down though, we got work.
Yeah.
So I'm going to nominate Jerry Davis.
That's how you spell your last name?
Number 11, Rio.
Wait.
Second.
One.
We missed one over here though.
Miss.
Marsha?
Yeah, give it a second.
You have to go to the third row.
Marsha, your last name?
Me.
Knee. Like your knee. Yeah.
Okay.
Nominate Liz Gaffney.
Second.
I'd also like to nominate Susan Tattuson.
Second.
Yeah, that's her how to spell.
Is there a second on her?
Second.
Your last name?
Tattoos and.
I nominate Cathy Kapelka.
What's that name?
She can still be, voted. Cathy?
Nominate Vladimir Putin, and I'd like to hold a road Russia in that too.
You have to wear masks while we do it. Anyone else?
Do you want to run?
Okay, we got 15.
Okay. Why don't we just, up to 11 more to be elected. The total board size will be 15. So we already have 4 officers, so 11 of these 15 people will be elected.
So whoever, on your sheets, you have 1 through 11. So just write the names of the people that you would like for those 11.
So before we get there, let's give you a chance to, nominees a chance to say what the heck they are.
Yeah, we've got probably done in just a minute.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have 11 times, and that's 5 hours.
So you have to go. Please, when you vote, don't fold the paper, it makes it harder on the counter. No. So let's get, you don't have to go to the front. Justin, Sheppard, you want to get a quick 1 minute?
Justin, I don't want to say less. Yeah, I'm here, I want to get more involved. I've been in the neighborhood for 10 years, but I haven't gotten involved with the council and the community on this level before, so I'm really looking forward to it when I'm elected. And yeah, I want to help the also live music.
This is going to be the drawn out part.
The neighborhood and community safe for children and keep it cool and funky and weird.
Emily Nyman.
I'm Emily. Want to be
and love from almost all of you in this room got me through. I have a real level head on my shoulders and a real positive outlook I think I can bring to the table. Also very politically involved, up to date on world, local news. I'm always the one going, hey, did you hear about this? And people are like, and if I was nominated, I would love the chance to give back and keep the art and music strong, the things that keep this place wonderful and original.
Jason.
You've already heard from me, though, can I add is that, again, my focus will be on dialogue between, I mean, there are so many different groups of folks and interests here in this neighborhood, and my focus is always going to be on dialogue between the different groups and interests.
Okay, Scott, go ahead.
I'm Scott. I'm a local artist and musician. I've been in this neighborhood for 15 years. I just really care about this.
Sarah.
I'm Sarah. I'm a property owner and I would love to open a business from how that looks as far as refining things and making it, keeping that combination of gentrification can happen and keeping it local, super working and focused and the time, just because I dealt with it firsthand quite a bit. So, yeah. So, we'll try it out.
What kind of business?
Are you good enough for me? So,
No, seriously, I would like to know people that are in the board.
I will say that I did talk to those guys, and a lot of the folks that can, have a say in how things go over there just simply don't have the time. They're totally interested in coming in as often as they can and trying to create a more direct line into the community with people's individual issues and stuff like that. They're totally willing and excited to jump in the game.
and obviously I would invite Nickles guys to come to sit down with the businesses. There's kind of been many other people who come and sit down. So Doug.
Doug first. A lot of y'all know me. I've been in the neighborhood for 6 years. I'm a transplant from Alabama. I'm a jack of all trades type. If y'all know me, you've seen me working a lot of events. I work with Next Step, Master Recyclers, Wow Hall. I'm a caterer, and I have, like I said, jack of all trades. I'm a performer as well. Went to college for theater, but I play music, and I know a lot about a lot. Peck. Obviously working for Next Step, I know about technology. And so I have my pulse on a lot of different pies and a lot of people. And I'm kind of a background person. I love the dialogue and have rational, I bring an outsider sense and a rational piece to the conversation and see different angles and find a lot of what people see. So, and I just I will continue to be a part of this neighborhood.
Christine Anderson. Do you have a question? Sure. When you give your thing, tell us if you live in the neighborhood, if you're a business owner, or just a property owner. That'd be helpful for some people. Employee, yeah. Live, work, own properties. Christine. Okay.
I book shows at Tiny Tavern. I have been doing music in the neighborhood for about 1.5 years. I used to work at the Wandering Goat for a few years, and I lived in the neighborhood as well. I'm responsible for those Homer Simpson flyers maybe you saw. Mostly I want to give a voice to people who maybe seem a little bit scary, those crazy punk rock people and metalheads and stuff who look like they're not. You couldn't really talk to them, but anyway, mostly I'm a good listener, and I'm a good person to talk to. I want to hear what everyone has to say. It was mostly the noise issue that brought my attention to this, but I know that gentrification is a really, really important issue as well. And mostly I just want to hear what everyone has to say and be a good go-between for everyone.
Give us your name again.
Christine Anderson.
Chris Gadsby.
GADSB.
That's actually a need to go with.
Yeah, GADSB. Yeah. I own a home, 1050 West 3rd, the G spot. I don't work in the neighborhood anymore. I've lived here approximately 13 years. I've lived in Eugene 22 years from Virginia. I was one of 3 people that helped start the Whiteaker Block Party. Other than that, I've assisted in the Virginia from the start. I love this place. I don't want to go on there. Love me baby, but you know, this is my home.
Jerry Gates?
I'm part owner of Bell Hardware, been here, worked there for 30 years. Been on the board about 1 year. I see both sides of the issues all the time.
Rio, does Rio have a surname?
I'm sure like Madonna and Cher, you don't really need to. My last name is Rio Towner, so it's a very long name. But I'm Rio. For most of you who know me, I work at Blair Alley. I've been involved in nightlife and performance arts around this town for a really long time. So I am essentially running because I have sort of a lot of logic to mind and reason, and I like to sort of be able to take sides of things and understand that there are many sides to any issue and be able to hear them, try and sort through them. Hopefully also make things efficient, because I know that sometimes these meetings drive everybody crazy when there's 27 things that people are all saying at the same time, same thing. But I'm really interested in being a part of the neighborhood, being a part of the neighborhood and taking those issues and creating communication around them, and then hopefully moving forward. I'm also really excited for the fact where it's Rio 513C and sort of using that fundraising thing to kind of like push forward like some projects in this area. I think that's exciting.
Marsha.
I'm Marsha Knee. I live in the Whiteaker, homeowner, and have been here for 15 years. There's a lot of nuances in the ways, and just having a blanket rule and a measurement doesn't work. Currently, I'm fighting continuous noise that has disrupted my life for 3 months and not having any sleep. And I live next to Tiny's Tavern. I've had those problems in 2 years. When you have music, I support music, and so do people around me. But when you have music, you know what's going to end, you know what night it is, you know what's over, you know the people's not coming into the room when you sleep. And when you have a fan blowing into your bedroom, and it's running between 48 decibels and 76 for 24 hours a day, you don't sleep. And it doesn't go away. And a blanket rule does not take care of that. There's no recourse. So as everything stands now, there are legal recourses to a lot of problems affecting this area with a lot of frustrated homeowners. And with so many young people that are really worried about their livelihood and the bars and the upcoming events, you still need to have someone on the board that represents homeowners, have an understanding of noise that's going on, and just the different trials that happen that have been happening and going on in the area.
What's your name, Dick?
Marsha Knee.
Liz Gaffney.
My name is Liz Gadsby. I do not currently live in Whiteaker, but I have online in the last 3 years. Play here a lot. Most of my days spent in Whiteaker. I do volunteer work at a local organization. I'm also on the board of directors of a local non-profit organization that deals with addiction issues. I don't really have an agenda. I have no opinion because I don't have enough information about noise, about parking, or I just don't have the information. So I don't really have an agenda. Honestly, I don't really care about the board. I'm just I'll show up to the council meetings for the city and everything. I mean, really, the council is where the community comes together. I mean, the board is
Other than time.
so I'll show up regardless.
Susan. Susan.
No, that's not me.
So Susan had to leave, but she owns the Whiteaker Tattoo Collective, and she also lives in the neighborhood. And she is super smart and organized lady. She's been running some cool autism awareness things that she's been organizing the community around lately. That's my vouch for Susan.
Okay. She's turned reality kitchen into an awesome place.
Yeah. Susan rocks. What's the assistant? Anyone want to speak for Cathy Kapelka?
She's actually pretty awesome. She is a bartender at Sam's Lawns. She also is a local artist. She has a local art space.
Runs an art studio in my space at Second and Jack.
Yeah, she community wants to be a part of it.
And I would just add that she's also involved in a lot of different like activities here in the neighborhood and different things that push.
She's also the art coordinator at Oakshire, so coordinates all the local live artists who have their art on display there, which is a pretty badass role.
When we had the meeting in World Cafe on Saturday last week, she left a note with her contact information so I could put her on the email list, and she also included iPart, Whiteaker. She has great handwriting.
She has amazing handwriting.
It sounds like you're remembering her at a funeral. I wanted to have some extra meat, master 11 ballots, Southeast 15, and then them into the boxes. I don't need to match them at all, no. You just pick 11 of those 15, write them on, one per name, don't fold the paper, one name per
Thomas? Good, man. How are you? I was sorry to see this many people here. It's really awesome. Oh, no, leave it up there. No, leave it there. No, leave it there.
Okay, one more goes.
Sit down.
Okay, this is the new board. For anyone that ran for a board seat and didn't get elected, it's even more important than being on the board is to come to the general meetings, find a way to get involved, talk to your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, let them know what's going on. Volunteer to serve on a committee. There's tons of ways for people to get involved and stay involved that are just as important. And it's just really great to see so many people come out tonight. So,
We need to clean up the room.